Georgia Central Primary School head teacher, Ms. Sylvia Ngoma, explains.
The 1x3 classroom block, because we looked also at the population and where we are located, because we go as far as Middle West, it's far. Garden House, it caters for Garden House, Lusaka West also. So because of the population, to us now, we are a little bit okay in terms of space. But we still require another 1x3 classroom block because of the population. Most of the parents, they come as far as Garden Park, and when we looked at 1x3, at least it cushioned on the space for the pupils. To say much more, because of the distance, especially the lower section, we make sure that they come in the morning. And that 1x3 classroom really cushioned, because 1 to 4, they all come in the morning and mid. So meaning that the distance for them to cover, they go early home, rather than them to go maybe by 17 hours.
Lima Ward Councillor Mr. Daniel Mwewa also expressed happiness with the construction of a 1x3 classroom block at the school.
This school caters for pupils as far as Chilanga district, Kasupe area, Chikondano area, as well as Kanyama, and yes, as well as Kanyama. So we've had very few classroom blocks for a long time. So it was resolved that we needed more classroom blocks at this school. So no wonder this classroom block behind me was constructed using the 2022 CDF allocation. Yeah. So from the time it was constructed, I think we've seen some improvement. The pupils who were overcrowded in some classes, they've been shifted into these classrooms, and then we've seen some few desks in that. So as the local leadership, we are happy because part of the problem has been sorted out. Then going forward again, since it goes up to grade 9. There's also 1x4 classroom block which is coming. So the idea is we want to transition this school to go up to grade 12, so it will be a combined school. Then besides that, this school received about 103 desks from the 2022 CDF allocation. Then again, about 350 desks are coming from the 2022 CDF allocation. So for us, all these developments, I think it has cheered me as a local leader, and also different stakeholders in the community. We are happy that we are able to see the fruits of the constituency development fund.
Another project that has been done under CDF in Matero is the renovation of Matero Police Post in Muchinga Ward. This police post was in a deplorable state, but now has a facelift, a development that has cheered the community. Ward Development Committee Chairperson Mr. Nosiku Masialeti sheds more light.
Among many projects that we've done under CDF, we are now at Matero North Police Post, which was renovated through the 2022 CDF funds. This police was dilapidated. We had to replaster it, put furniture inside, and then do work on the cells, both cells for women and for men. The office in charge's office has also been given a facelift by putting new furniture in there. We are happy with the works. We are happy with what CDF is doing, more especially that what is happening now comes from the community itself. So we are very happy with what is happening.
Mr. Masialeti is appealing to the community to guard the renovated police post jealously.
I would urge them to take care of this property, because it took a lot of money for the government to put it together. So I urge them to work together, guard this property jealously, so that at least we don't have to come back to this expense soon.
Matero Boys Secondary School has also had a share of the CDF. The school has received 500 desks, a development that has cheered the school administration.
We have been in dire need of furniture, and the donation through CDF of 500 desks has really benefited the school, in that we have been able to put furniture in the new classrooms that were recently built. So we're very appreciative to government for this CDF donation. It helped us meet a need just at the right time.
This is Tiende Pamozi Primary School, situated in SOS area. Here, construction of a 1x3 classroom block is in progress. The school, which caters for grades 1 to 9, has had challenges with space. The construction of an additional classroom block will help alleviate the problem.
What you are seeing here is actually the CDF project. I think the school had applied in 2021 and it was approved in 2022, and now the works have commenced. A number of factors have necessitated this building. One of them being the catchment area is quite vast, and this is the only school we have around this place. Up to somewhere in Kabangwe, SOS, this one is the last school. So we have this whole community coming here to seek for places, and it has been a very big challenge for us, because we have inadequate space. As a school, we are so excited because it will really help us to even extend rooms for those that we have been turning down due to inadequate space. So this has really come at the right time when we just need it to, extend the education to the vulnerable out there whom we are not able to accommodate previously.
Ward Development Committee Chairperson Mr. Nosiku Masialeti sheds more light about the construction of the classroom block at Tiende Pamozi Primary School.
We are at Tiende Pamozi Primary School, where we are constructing a 1x3 classroom block through CDF. This school is situated in SOS area, and it caters for a very vast catchment area. So we are so grateful that this project has started, because we have a lot of students due to free education that was introduced by our president. The population in our schools has increased, so it's a step in the right direction.
This is Lilanda Health Post, situated in Kapwepo Ward. A maternity wing was constructed under CDF in 2022 and is yet to be commissioned. Medical services by expectant mothers will now be easily accessed, unlike in the past where mothers had to go to far-flung clinics to seek medical attention. Ms. Joyce Njovu, WDC Secretary, is elated with the construction of the health post.
Ndisibokondwera maningi tuli abansansa sana pakuti CDF yatukulirako maternity wing because twalechula mu community abantu balechula chine chine pantu kwalifyo kuya ku level 1 limbi kuya ku George Clinic ekwa kuya papira nomba pe fiba CDF batuperako kutati batukulirako na clinic mwandi tuli abansansa sana muno muri Landa myeso pantu community yala chita benefit.
Ms. Susan Pelletti, a nurse at Lilanda Health Post, talks about the benefits of having a maternity wing in the area.
It has benefited us a lot in a way that mothers who are coming from far are able to access services from this facility other than going to George or Matero Face level. It will also help us to decongest Matero Face level itself and George in the aspect that services can be offered within our health post here.
Kalukongo Market is another beneficiary of CDF. Traders in this market have been trading without a shelter for years, but they have something to smile about because they are now trading in a conducive environment after the construction of a market shelter.
Bakalibe okupanga market yenze inagwa. Shelter mine yenzepo yenze inagwa. So tunankhala zaka zambiri almost kapena ni 7 years kunalibe shelter. But isi sunachokepo tunalimbikira kunkhala so chabe na mvula. Pakati wabarwisha ndi pamene yanabwera batupangira.
First of all, the shelter blown off. It will stay about 2-3 years. There is no market shelter. Afterwards, the area councillor come and build this shelter. Then they come and open.
The increase in CDF allocation to Matero constituency is bringing about community engagement and participation in identifying areas to be developed. This will in turn help develop the country as a whole. Broadcast times for Parliament Television has been extended from 0830 hours to 22 hours from Monday to Friday. Tune in every weekday from Monday to Friday on Parliament Television. Parliament Television, bringing Parliament closer to you.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC, and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number, and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
For a 20 minutes health break at 16:40 hours. On the floor of the House was Luena Member of Parliament, Honorable Morita Anakoka, about to ask a supplementary question on a question that has been posed by Kawe Central Member of Parliament, Ms. Chrysosta Halwindi, who wanted to find out from the Minister of Tourism how many rhinos died countrywide from 2015 to 2022 year by year. And in the B part of the question, she wanted to find out whether the horns of the rhinos above were preserved. And in the C part of the question, if so, whether the government has any plans to sell the horns. And in the D part of the question, if there are no such plans, why?
We do expect more questions for oral answer understanding order number 74 to be considered on the floor of the House, and after that Ms. Siweso Sefulo will move a motion that the thanks of this assembly be recorded for the exposition of the public policy contained in the President's address, and this motion will be seconded by Kafulafuta lawmaker Mr. Geoffrey Mulewa. And the Republican President was in the House last week on Friday. He was officially opening the third session of the 13th National Assembly, and so we'll see members of Parliament actually debate the presidential address.
Yes, and when business resumed at 14:30 hours, there were 3 announcements, and also, Madam Speaker, permitted the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Honorable Mike Imposha, to render a ministerial statement. This was on the shutdown of Ayolanda 1 water treatment plant in Kapiwe to facilitate repair works on the main transmission pipeline to the Saka. And so just now we cross to the chamber.
When business was suspended, The House was considering question number 6 on the order paper, asked by the Honorable Member for Kabwe Central, and the Honorable Member for Luena was about to ask a supplementary question. May the Honorable Member continue.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister for Tourism, I was just about to ask the question before we went out for break. And the question I am putting forward is in reference to what you said in your statement, that currently all the horns that were harvested from the dead rhinos are locked up in the strong room. And since we are talking about horns, I thought I might as well make reference to elephant tusks. And my question in relation to these horns and tusks, if applicable, is elephant tusks, that is what exactly is our policy regarding these horns? Is it to lock them up in the strong room forever? Or do we occasionally seek exemptions so that we can dispose of on the international market as a country? Or do we also adopt the policy of banning them, destroying them at certain intervals? Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Acting Minister of Tourism.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and sorry for that. Madam Speaker, I think the answer to that would be because the disposal of rhino horns and elephant tusks are usually governed by international regulations, and at one time or the other, the country do apply, I'm sure, for permission to auction these trophies. I'm sure when such a time comes, the country should be able to benefit from what it has harvested. I submit.
The Honorable Member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Minister, my question is almost similar to what my colleague had asked, but in any case, I just want to make a comment that you say there's an international law that determines the disposal of such government trophies, and that was, I think, formulated in 1977. Have there been any try to review this law so that at least as a country we can have our own direction of how we can be disposing such government trophies? Because as I can imagine the strong room where you are keeping them, and they can't even put in the museum so that the country can keep on collecting revenue. So what is the benefit of even keeping them? But has there been any attempt to review this law? Thank you so much.
The Acting Minister of Tourism.
Madam Speaker, allow me to read a written statement from the technical people. It reads, government has also a stockpile of ivory amounting to about 75 tons, which has not been disposed of due to the same trade restrictions imposed by sites. The government of the Republic of Zambia has on a number of occasions tried to dispose of the ivory stockpile through the sites process, but has failed to obtain support from parties of the convention. Zambia has not considered pulling out of sites due to possible implications of further trade restriction in sites listed specimens, such as hunting of trophies, which may affect Zambia's conservation efforts. However, government still intends to legally dispose of the ivory stockpile within the framework of sites. I submit.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Masaiti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Deworming of rhinos is one way of, or one measure of curbing poaching. of the two species of rhinos, the white and the black rhinos, how many has your ministry or has government dehorned? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Tourism.
Thank you, Honorable from Asaiti. Madam Speaker, I don't have information that we are dehorning these rhinos. However, I can get back to the House to make a proper statement regarding this question. I submit.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the farmers in Katoka Mema, I have the privilege to ask question number 7. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
What's happening? Madam Speaker, Honorable Member of Parliament for Kamfisa, Honorable Kangombe, wanted to know from the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources how many settlers were in Katoka Mema Farm Block in Kamfisa Parliamentary Constituency as of April 2023. B, whether the government has any plans to issue the title deeds to the settlers. C, if so, when the plans will be implemented. D, how many hectares of land will be allocated to such settlers. And E, if there are no plans to issue, any plans to issue title deeds. If there are no plans to issue title deeds, then why? Madam Speaker, our response is in A. According to Agriculture Farm Block model, Katoka Mema is not one of the farm blocks. There is only one farm block called Ruswishi Farm Block in Fanyama district on the Copper Belt. It is not easy to establish the number of settlers in Katoka Mema, as the ministry has not conducted any social survey to establish the number of settlers. In B, at the moment, the government has no plans to issue title deeds to settlers in Katoka Mema, as the ministry is still consulting line ministries and other stakeholders on availability of land. In C, therefore, there is no implementation plan to issue title deeds in this area. The number of hectares in D, the number of hectares settled upon is not yet established, as no social survey and cadastral survey is done. In E, there are no plans to issue title deeds, as the land is not planned for this resettlement, as it falls within Mwekera Forest number 6 and 84, unless the forest is degazetted by the Minister of Green Economy and Environment. However, Madam Speaker, it is important to note here that in 2015, an extent of 6,348 hectares were excised from Mwekela Forest Reserve under SI number 90 of 2015 to resettle settlers around this area, that is Mwekela Resettlement Scheme. The Office of the Principal Land Resettlement Officer was engaged to handle this exercise in collaboration with all the relevant stakeholders, and the exercise is still ongoing. It has been learned that settlers that are within the forest reserve have been resisting to be relocated to this excised part of the land. Madam Speaker, the ministry has neither conducted social survey nor numbered any properties in the area in question, and therefore not in a position to state how many settlers were there by April 2023. Consultations with the Ministry of Agriculture and Green Economy and Environment and the Department of Settlement in the Office of the Vice President have revealed that the area Kamema is part of the Mwekela Forest Reserve. Madam Speaker, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources has no intention to issue title deeds as this area is a forest reserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, once again, I'm grateful for this privilege to speak on behalf of our farmers in Katoka Mema. Honorable Minister, the people that we are calling settlers are actually farmers in that farm block. They receive farm inputs from government. We have 2 polling stations in Katoka Mema, and this is a well-established area. And from your response, you've indicated that they can't be given ownership documents because they are part of a forest reserve. Given the social dynamics in that area, would government consider beginning the process of degazation, given the fact that we have people that have settled and we have other social amenities that are currently being provided? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much. I'm aware, according to the information by the registers of the headmen around, we have about 17,000 around. And that's not peculiar to Copper Belt. As you know, much of the areas in Copper Belt is either mining area or forest. These discussions have been going on. We are aware, even government institutions are in these areas. As I've mentioned here, that discussions are going on within the government circles with the stakeholders so that we can see the best way to deal with this issue of our people. It's not a farming block. Of course, they are farming. As you know, they cannot be removed. They need to have something to eat. But in terms of legality, it's not a farming block. But maybe as we consider, because the population is increasing for sure, we need to discuss and agree with the stakeholders until such a time that is degazetted, then such issues can be resolved. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Honorable Minister of Lands, I take note of your response, but I want to find out, and this is for the benefit of our people that obviously are very excited that this conversation has actually reached your office as well as Parliament. Considering the level of investment that has so far gone into that area, as I stand here, Madam Speaker, close to 4 million kwacha is being pumped into the farm block using the Constituency Development Fund to enhance connectivity for our farmers there, for them to receive farm inputs on time, and for them to be able to produce farm produce and take it back to the market. Given that serious investment in terms of other resources, Minister, how soon can we conclude the consultative process so that we can actually match what is happening in that section of the area with the integrated development plan of Kitwe District? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
I appreciate his concerns about our people. But first and foremost, we have got 6,348 hectares, which was excised. And they're reluctant to take this piece of land which is already there. First of all, let's finish what has been done, and then we see what can happen. We have to be very careful, according to our colleagues in this climate change. The water head that feeds into Kafue. We have to be very, very mindful about that. Otherwise, Zambia will be another desert. All those things put together, we shall see what we can do. But first and foremost, let's advise our friends, our colleagues, our brothers, our sisters. I know Kitwe has a lot of Lundas, Luvares, and Kaondes from Northwestern. Advise them. First of all, let's exhaust these 6,448 hectares. And then maybe we can consider, you are not the only one. Kalulush, the same. Even in Quito itself, the same. I'm aware what is happening on the Copper Belt, including Russia. I sympathize with you, but the government is not sitting idle. We shall come to you. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Member Fonkana.
Honorable Minister, I sympathize with Honorable Kangombe, and I have a little history with the land in question, particularly the decision that was made to degazette about 6,000 hectares out of Mwekela, because then I was district commissioner for Kitwe, and we worked hand in hand with the provincial resettlement officer, or rather office, to handle that problem. What is true to state here on the floor of the House, Honorable Minister, is that the people of Katoka Mema are a different case. The 6,000 you are referring to is already consumed as of 2019 when we were handling this problem. I think that what is important now is to have this conversation. There are a lot of people in Katoka Mema, Honorable Minister, that requires assurance from you. Because just to remind you, even then when we degazetted 6,000, there was a buffer or a provision that we could degazette a little more to handle the people of Katoka Mema because they were a separate case. Can you assure the people of Katoka Mema on the floor of the House, Honorable Minister, that you'll be very considerate so that they do not panic that government will throw them out, but that it would be an issue of exhausting, the channels of communication and engagements? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Madam Speaker, I thank you very much, and I thank you, Honorable Member of Parliament from Ghana. We need to take stock. You are saying the 6,348 has already been exhausted. And also, you need to ignite the process of degazation. But if it is the head for the water that fits into Kafiu, it becomes difficult. My colleague there, next door to you, there, Minister of Green Economy, should be invited to the area, because it comes to me to allocate to people after he's satisfied that is not disturbing the natural movement of the water. If that's done, why not? We are here, government for the people. This government is very particular and passionate about the welfare of our people. And I'm aware, your minister, that one next door, he is always knocking on my door, but we need to balance up the equation. We want to be very sober in the way we handle issues. Do we want to disturb the climate and then we have disasters? Or do we appease our people? All these things, we balance them. Once we find an answer, we shall give you a satisfactory answer to our people. We shall take stock of whatever is happening on the Copper Belt. I'm very, very concerned. Your minister is very concerned, very, very concerned that Honorable Matambo, you see, is always on me. I thank you.
Thank you. I'll get to the last two. The Honorable Member for Lufugu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you've emphasized your concerned, but your ministry has never taken even a start to know how many people are there, to see what are the challenges, and here you've told us this is a forest reserve. What is so difficult with the ministry being proactive in looking at these issues and finding solution before it's too late?
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I mentioned here that we have not done the actual social survey. But I said, from the registers of the village headmen, we have about 17,000 people there. But you see, it's a forest reserve. They are there illegally, but there's nothing we can do at the moment. We have not legalized it. If we are legalizing it, we shall go on the ground to know, and then to give a portion if it has been done. But it is also against certain principles. Why should I go and start taking stock when the place is not degazetted, when it's illegal? And they have to start the process. That's what I'm saying. I thank you, Madam.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Lubasenchi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity that has been given to the good people of Lubansenshi constituency. Permit me to ask you the follow-up question to the Honorable Minister of Lands. Honorable Minister, the people of Katokamema, I think they are worried because the question that Honorable Christopher Gangombe asked, he wanted to know in terms of time frame when you are going to resolve this issue. Because in my understanding, you are not coming out to assure the people of Katokamema. Now, my question is, the people of Mwekela, which you mentioned that they're part of that forest, and over 6,000 have been given even letters. I think it's an invitation to treat or offer letters by Office of the Settlement Office in Ndola, I think so. Now, are you able to assure the people of Mwekela that those 6,000 that have been given offer letters, they will be issued with the title deeds so that they can be aware of government position? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
I appreciate. Though it's another question. If it's already gazetted, there's no problem there. We are on the ground. And I'm saying I want to take stock. Following exactly what Honorable Kangombe has said, that it was Honorable Kangombe or the other Honorable who said that is already exhausted. I want to prove it. I want to go. But I don't want to delve myself to go into a land which is not gazetted. That one, we have to start the process. This is a government of laws. That has to be made very clear. But those who are already in the gazetted land, why not? In fact, we have got Madich on the copper belt. I can order them, instruct them, so that we can finish the process. Now, with this process of the phone, check. You can do that. You can have your title deed done using your phone. Madam, we are there on the copper belt. I thank you.
Thank you. We make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Pemba.
On behalf of the good people of Pemba constituency, question 8, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, the Pemba Member of Parliament has asked the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development the following questions. When the construction of the following infrastructure in Pemba district will be completed: staff houses for Pemba Town Council, an office block for the Department of Agriculture. B, when the works will resume. C, what the time frame for the completion of the outstanding works. And D, what the cost of each project is. Madam Speaker, the responses: A, construction of the staff houses for Pemba Town Council will be completed by the third quarter of 2024. Construction of office block for the Department of Agriculture will be completed once funds are secured. B, works for the construction of staff houses for Pemba Town Council will resume in the fourth quarter of 2023, while works for the construction of the office block for the Department of Agriculture will resume once funds are made available. C, the time frame for the completion of the outstanding works for staff houses for Pemba Town Council will be 9 months, and for the completion of office block for the Department of Agriculture will be in 10 months. The cost of each project is as follows. The construction of staff houses for Pemba Town Clerk is 4,276,675.15, and the last one, construction of office block for the Department of Agriculture, was initially contracted at the sum of 377,971 kwacha, but it was revised to a contract sum of 690,467 before the contract expired. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Pemba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Any delay in the completion of construction project has a very serious negative effect to the beneficiaries and the government. Now my question, Honorable Minister, is what measures are being put in place in this ministry to ensure that projects started are completed on time, unlike what was the trend under the previous government, PF? Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, the ministry is as well concerned for this project. I want to give some indications. The contractor was given this contract was Cabman Limited, and they were paid the initial amount of 2,171,366.56, and then the balance to be paid was almost half. When there is no fund, Madam Speaker, it is difficult for any project to proceed. And if also, the time frame of the contract has expired, it's also very difficult to proceed. So the ministry is looking into these factors to see what can be done and when the funds will be available. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Magoye.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, Pemba is a rural constituency or a rural district and is purely dependent on agriculture. And once agriculture is not prioritized in Pemba, the lives of our people there will highly be affected. You have indicated here to say that the money as soon as it is made available. How soon do you think, Honorable Minister, this money will be made available to ensure that the offices are constructed, to ensure that our people are well catered for there in Pemba? Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, I said maybe I also to just give some more indication here. The progress and the status of that contract is at 85%. And then I said in the third quarter of this year, fourth quarter of this year, the works will be completed. And we are just about to enter into the fourth quarter. So we will look into that within this fourth quarter. It will be done. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, I am sure the project in Pemba falls in the same category with the many other projects that were started but left or abandoned due to financial constraints by the previous regime, which includes many administration centers, especially in the new districts, and the Luena or Limulonga district is equally affected. May I find out from you if it's possible for you to provide a list of these incomplete administration centers and give an indication of which ones are going to be dealt with at what stage, so that it enables the local authorities that are located so far away from the areas where they should be delivering services to the people to plan on how quickly they can get closer to the masses. Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, there are so many, infrastructure, especially under the local government, which has been left unattended to due to, lack of funds throughout the country. When you visit Ishwangandu, there are so many, and those projects without attended to. Just talked about Ishwangandu. Yes, that is just to give more information. And even when you go to Katete, you actually find this, because those who are in Katete, yes. So, Madam Speaker, it is actually difficult just now to give and indicate how many and when are we going to, come up with a way on how we are going to finalize these, projects, because I think these were started under the previous government. So many infrastructure, especially in those new districts. So we just have, as a ministry, we just have to come up with the, plans of how we can tackle when, funds are available, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you. Maybe as you answer the next question, I think the honorable member was requesting you to come back to this house with a list of those uncompleted projects under the, is it the local government, the new districts? So maybe you can say something. Of course, you can't give stock now, but in future, maybe you come back to this house with the list of all the unfinished projects throughout the country. I'll invite the honorable member for Pemba.
Thank you so much. Honorable Minister, you indicated that the contract sum for the office block under agriculture was 377,971, and adjusted to 690,467. Now my question is, what is the actual cost of the remaining works? I believe that was my question. Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yeah, the initial contract sum was 377,971. Then it was revised to 690,467. So amount of 203,497 was actually paid, and then the outstanding amount is 486,960 is outstanding. And once these funds are available, we will be able to continue, because at the moment there is nothing happening on site. And the progress status is at 55%. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Will you come back with the list at a later stage for the uncompleted council projects or buildings?
Yes, Madam Speaker, we will come back to the House and we'll give you the list.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. Through you to the Minister. Minister, going by the calculations that you have given forth to this House, may I know whether it's possible that the remaining amounts can be included in excess budget I submit?
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, we are yet to approve the budget and we will be able to indicate in the coming budget. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, the last member, the Honorable Member for Sinazongwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the people of Pemba want to get a categorical answer from you whether your ministry won't take any projects, new project similar in nature to that of Pemba before you complete theirs and other dotted projects within the country. They want assurance from you that there shall be no new project before you complete theirs. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, it doesn't stop us from starting a new project. If probably we acquire some donor funding, we can actually start other projects. But for this, Pemba project, we'll be able to stick to what has been already mentioned. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Next question, the Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The people of Solwezi East would like to ask question number 9.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Solwezi East Member of Parliament would like to ask the Minister of Transport and Logistics, A, what the progress on the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between Zambia and Democratic Republic of Congo on the Luano Railway Development Project was as of March 2023. B, what the cause of the delay in signing the MOU is, considering that the financials have been ready to fund the project since 2017, and C, when the project will commence. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House as follows. A, no progress has been made towards signing a Memorandum of Understanding between Zambia and DRC on the Luano Railway Development Project. This House may wish to note that between 2017 and 2018, government received an unsolicited proposal to construct the Luano Railway Project from the project coordinator of the Luano Railways Development Project Limited. Since the project is not a government-to-government project, but a private sector-driven initiative, it is imperative for the promoter to get buy-in from Zambia and DRC before the two countries can engage. B, the delay in signing the MOU has been due to the following. 1, lack of a detailed project proposal and source of project financing from a promoter, making it difficult to secure the buy-in of the two countries, DRC and Zambia. And 2, the absence of a detailed project proposal has made it difficult to determine the project's viability as well as ascertain the promoter's technical and financial capabilities. Madam Speaker, the House may also wish to note that the government is not opposed to signing the MOU on the development of the railway line once a buy-in is obtained from our counterparts from DRC. I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, you have just stated that the government cannot actually commit. Now, since we are looking at infrastructure and we are looking at the development of the railway line system, and also the carnage that has been going on our roads. Is it possible that since I have information about the people who are actually moving this agenda, that I can ask them to get back to the government and see if the government can have indeed that interest to buy in? Is it possible, Mr. Honorable Minister? Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Madam Speaker, I think it is possible. You can try and do that. Thank you.
Next question, the Honorable Member for Bangweulu.
Question number 10, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Cassandra, Member of Parliament for Bangweulu, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development the following question. A, how many constituencies countrywide did not receive Constituency Development Fund in 1, 2017, and 2, in 2020? B, how many constituencies in the following provinces did not receive Constituency Development Fund in 2018? 1 in Western Province, 2 Eastern, and 3 Luapula Province. And under C, why the constituencies in A and B did not receive CDF in the years in question? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. That under A, out of the 156 constituencies, 126 were funded part of the 2017 CDF allocation, while the 2020 CDF allocation was disbursed to all the 156 constituencies. Under B, in 2018, all constituencies in Western Province received the Constituency Development Fund, while 5 in Eastern Province and 4 in Luapula Province did not receive the Constituency Development Fund. C, government did not fully fund the constituencies mentioned in A and B above because it prioritized disbursement of the CDF in constituencies whose members of parliament were not cabinet ministers. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Bangweulu.
Minister, thank you very much for the answers you have provided. Madam Speaker, I asked this question to the Minister because there was a growing trend among the members, especially from Western Province, that there were some years that they did not receive CDF. The Minister has just confirmed in 2017 and in 2018. I have with me, Madam Speaker, the disbursement of CDF from 2010 to 2020 shared to me by the Minister of Substantive Minister of Local Government. So this question was asked to dispel rumor mongering and lies. I just want to
Honorable members, let's give him chance to ask the question. Honorable Member for Bangweulu, please ask your question.
Madam Speaker, thank you for guidance, but there is a tendency in this House. Why are you debating from the seats? There is a tendency in this House to mislead the House that PF concentrated on other provinces when it comes to CDF. So the Minister has just confirmed that there was no such a thing. So, Minister, I don't have a question. Thank you for confirming. I submit.
I don't know whether the Minister has got any response towards that. It was not a question. Order, honorable members.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is true that in that particular year, 2017, Western Province received But maybe what this question has brought to the fore is really not to remove the so-called speculation. But I think to me, it has confirmed one thing that in the past, first of all, the disbursement of CDF was not only inadequate, but was also being given out like in medals in the markets where you ration. This is what was happening. This is what was happening, and
Order, honorable members, order. Can we please give chance to the minister to respond? Order. As for the point of order, you just indicate the honorable member who is on the floor. The honorable member on the floor for Chinsali, you are actually disturbing the house because you rose on wanting to make a point of order, and I was trying to guide you that you are just supposed to indicate and not stop the person or the minister on the floor, because that is my duty to tell the minister that there is actually a point of order being raised. Can you please maybe take your seat? So please, can we observe the rules so that we do not distract the business of the House? The Honorable Minister, you may continue.
thank you, Madam Speaker, that from the statement or from the answer, you can see that in certain constituencies, the partly 1.6 million kwacha per year per constituency was actually being given in parts, because in certain years, some of the constituencies did not get the 1.6 in full. And I want to assure this House, Madam Speaker, that never again are we going to go back to those days where you fail to disburse money for development. This government, Madam Speaker, will ensure that we steadily continue increasing the allocation of funds, because CDF is a game changer and it will provide development to our people. Madam Speaker, we want to put development in all the constituencies, and I'm happy that this government is giving even these members on your left enough money for them to bring development. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mwandi.
Madam Speaker, thank you so very much for giving the people of Mwandi, through me, an opportunity to follow up on this question. But before I do, let me recognize the Honorable Member for Bangweulu for asking this very, very intelligent question in regards to CDF. And also it has brought out his information in regards to CDF being given in Medaz. We've heard that the people were getting this CDF in piecemeals. So my follow-up question to the Honorable Minister is that, Honorable Minister, in regards to what was happening then, where people were given CDF in Medaz, like you've indicated, where they budget for 1.6 million, and then they get something that is 700,000 kwacha, for example. What assurance are you giving to the Zambian people out there that are listening, the people of Mwandi, that in this increased CDF, where we are now at 28.3 million kwacha, they will never ever get half, everything will be given yearly in full? Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I also want to thank the MP for Mwandi for that very good follow-up question. Madam Speaker, I want to assure the people of Mwandi that this government will continue to steadily increase the CDF, because we want to have even distribution of development in all the 156 constituencies. Madam Speaker, we also want to assure that following the system the government and this ministry has put in place, we shall continue to disburse the funds quarterly and ensure that the money gets to the constituencies in good time. And this will be done without discrimination. We ensure that all the 156 constituencies, whether there's an opposition member, whether there's a PF independent, or indeed independent, we shall provide the money. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honorable member for Bangweulu.
Madam Speaker, thank you. Now I have a question. And as stated by the minister trying to move away from a very straightforward question. Minister, I just want you to confirm, according to the CDF guidelines, 2022 guidelines, CDF is supposed to be given to constituencies quarterly, 4 times in a year. I want you to confirm, Minister, is it true that in the CDF guidelines, the current CDF guidelines, CDF is supposed to be disbursed quarterly, per quarter, 4 times in a year? Is it not a MEDA type of distribution? 4 times in a year. At the moment, this is actually September, only quarter has come. Is it not that MEDA type of arrangement? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, please let's not move away from the question. The Honorable Minister, the Honorable Acting Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, have you got an answer for that?
Madam Speaker, the disbursement of the CDF will be disbursed, will continue disbursing based on the system we've put in place. Clearly, the Member of Parliament wants to drag me into the comparison of the past where they completely failed to provide the money. There can never be a reasonable, logical system. From my answer, Madam Speaker, I made it very clear that certain constituencies, for example, where there were sitting cabinet ministers, because the government then was broke, they decided to leave out. Am I protected, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, I indicated in my statement that there were constituencies which were completely
Order,
left
Honorable
out.
Minister. There is an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Member for Chinsali, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise on a very serious point of order pursuant to Standing Order number 65, which talks about factuality of what we say and providing evidence to support our assertions. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Minister on the floor, in his response to the substantive question, he indicated that in 2017, 2020, 2018, and the years that were asked, the PF government at the time gave CDF according to the amounts that were there at the time. Is he in order to now change and say that the PF failed to give CDF? Because look, when you have a target of 1,000 and you achieve a target of 1,000, it means that you have achieved your target. It is as good as a person who has a target of 20,000 and has achieved 20,000. Keep quiet, don't debate on your seats. What's your problem?
Order, Honorable Member. Order, Honorable Member. I think I was listening to your point of order, except that now you are involving the other honorable members. We are not supposed to involve the other honorable members when you are debating on the floor. You just have to ignore them because you have the floor. And I was attentively listening to your point of order. Yes, but you don't have to react in such a way. Otherwise, there will be chaos in the House. Can you please wind up on your point of order?
Thank you. I've been guided that I should not engage you, my honorable colleagues. So I will follow what my able speaker has guided. We'll finish the rest outside. Madam Speaker, my point of order is that is the honorable minister of the honorable minister who is on the floor, is he in order to misguide and mislead himself and to mislead the whole nation as well as the honorable members here and the sub-region that the PF government failed to provide the money for CDF, when in the actual sense it did provide. The only difference is that it was just less. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you for that point of order. From what I'm getting, the minister was saying the previous government, they did provide, but it wasn't in full. I'm sure that was the situation on the ground. However, honorable members, I think that's why I guided to say, let's not move away from the question. The minute we move away from the question on the floor, that is the moment that you are going to bring in a lot of other things which are not in the question. So please, for the sake of progress, the question is straightforward. Can we concentrate on this question so that we make progress? Because we've got a motion before us which is supposed to be covered today. Now we are going to spend the whole day just looking at the questions. Can we please be specific to the question on the floor to avoid bringing in other issues which are not part and parcel of this question? In that way, we shall make progress. Was it the Honorable Minister who was responding? The Honorable Minister, please, you may continue with your response.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your guidance. Madam Speaker, as members of the executive, we have a duty to provide very clear answers and also to just avoid getting our people being misled by the information that is coming from the other side, from your left side. Madam Speaker, in my response, I made it very clear that out of 156 constituencies, 126 were funded part of the 2017. So what this means is that the other constituencies were not, did not receive the money. So in answering the question my dear brothers asked, I am confirming here that the CDF was not being disbursed in this particular year to all the 156 constituencies. So contrary to that system, we are saying as government that for this government, we shall timely disburse the money to all the 156 constituencies, unlike what was happening in the past. And Madam Speaker, to avoid getting out of the question, but I think this is very clear and it confirms that when our colleagues have been arguing that they had enough money in the treasury for development, even when we were saying that when we took over empty coffers. This confirms, because I'm adding, you wanted the answers. Madam Speaker, this confirms that there was no sufficient money to...
Order, honorable members. Are you through, the Honorable Minister? The Honorable Minister, you may wind up your response.
So, in winding up, Madam Speaker, this goes on to confirm that there wasn't sufficient money to bring development in all the 156 constituencies, and this is why the government then was partially disbursing CDF to selected constituencies. Madam Speaker, going forward, we want to remedy this problem and we ensure that, one, all the constituencies receive money according to the laid out system under local government, and we shall ensure that the money is received timely. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, I think we are now spending a lot of time arguing on this simple question asked by the honorable member for Bangweulu, who had the motive over this question. I think, like he said, no, because order, honorable member, because you said the aim of asking that question, you had an agenda, isn't it? Yes, so that's what I'm saying. So, honorable members, in order for us not to waste the time, we make progress. The next question, the honorable member for Mulobezi.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 11.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member from Mulobezi, Honorable Mabenga, asked the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation the following question: whether the government has any plans to construct water reticulation systems in the following areas of Mulobezi district: 1, Machile; 2, Kwemba Malo; 3, Kamanga; and 4, Nawinda. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, what the estimated cost of the project is, and D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. Yes, government has plans to construct water reticulation system at Machile, Kamanga, Nawinda, and Kwembamalo areas. B, the upgrading of the existing boreholes to piped water reticulation system in Nawinda, Kamanga, and the Machile areas will be implemented in the fourth quarter of 2023 as per Mulobezi Town Council work plan. However, the reticulation system in Kwembamalo will be constructed in the year 2024. C, the estimated cost of the project will be determined at the point of procurement. And D, Madam Speaker, as indicated in A above, government has plans to construct water reticulation systems at Machile, Kamanga, Nawinda, and Kwembamalo areas. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions? I see none. We make progress. Next questions, the Honorable Member for Kalago Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 12.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Miyutu, Kalabo Central, to ask the Minister of Education, A, why grade 7 and 9 examination numbers expire after 2 years of issuance. B, what the positive effects of the numbers expiring are. C, what the negative effects are. D, whether the government has any plans to abolish the expiration of examination numbers, and E, if so, when the plans will be implemented. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that they expire to maintain data integrity in accordance with the structure of the education system as explained below. The grade 7 examination number is allocated in the year of examination, and it expires in the same year if not used. If a learner did not sit for the examination and wishes to register again, they are allocated a new examination number for that particular year. Therefore, the expiry of the grade 7 number does not disadvantage any learner. Junior secondary school leaving, that is grade 9 internal examination, candidates used the examination number allocated at grade 7. The number matures for use at this level after 2 years of junior secondary education as per education structure. If the number is not used, it remains valid for another 2 years. Therefore, the number is valid for a total period of 4 years before it expires. At the point of expiry, the learner is no longer in school and therefore cannot sit a school leaving examination. However, candidates who fail to make certificate at grade 9 or are out of school and wish to sit for the grade 9 examination can register for the junior secondary grade 9 external examination. In this case, they are allocated an external examination number. The junior secondary school external examination number expires the same year if it is not used in order to maintain data integrity. The expiry does not disadvantage any learner because if they wish to write the following year, they are issued with another external examination number. If used and the learner makes a full certificate, the learner is allowed to rejoin the mainstream and the external examination number will be used at grade 12 as an internal number. 2. School certificates, that's grade 12 internal candidates, use either the number issued in grade 7 and used junior secondary school leaving examination or the junior secondary external examination number, whichever of the two applies. The number matures for use after 3 years of senior secondary education. If not used, the number remains valid for another 2 years, after which it expires to maintain data integrity. At the point of expiry, the learner is expected to be out of school. If they wish to sit for the examination, they can enter for the General Certificate of Education examination. The GCE number is issued in the examination year and expires in the same year. The expiry of the school certificate, the expiry of the school certificate and GCE examination numbers does not therefore disadvantage any learners. And B, the allocation of examination numbers, their validity and expiration thereof are in sync with the schooling structure and completion of the course of instruction for each particular level. The 2 additional years that are given at each level, if the number is not used, are in accordance with the re-entry policy of the Ministry of Education. Therefore, the benefits of the examination number expiring are as follows. It ensures internal candidates presented for the examinations have completed the required period of instruction. The candidate's personal results records are safeguarded with unique identifiers for the purpose of maintaining data integrity. It provides for opportunity to account for different categories of candidates in accordance with the system for provision of education. C, from the systems management point of view, there are no negative effects as all types of learners are catered for. Once an internal examination number expires, the learner can still write the examination as an external candidate. From the cost point of view, the external candidates have to contribute as the fees charged are not cost reflective. This is because most of them had already an opportunity to write a free exam before. Additionally, the government has provided education support through CDF, which the returning vulnerable learners can benefit from. Therefore, the net effect is that examination number does not conflict free education. And D, the government has no intentions to abolish the expiration of examination numbers because it is a good records management system. The expiration of examination numbers is a control and security measure to protect the personal examination record. The concept of expiration of an examination number is linked to the number of years a learner is expected to have completed the course of instruction. A unique identifier without any accompanying results record cannot be kept active on the database in perpetuity. E, due to the response in Part D, Part E falls off. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary questions? Thank you. We make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Question number 13.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Mukosa wants to find out from the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, in A, how many landowners obtained certificates of title in Chinsali district from 2016 to 2021, year by year, and in B, what measures are being taken to encourage more people in the district to obtain title deeds. Madam Speaker, our response. Chinsali district has 79 certificates of titles from 2016 to 2021 as follows: 2016 5, 2017 7, 2018 5, 2019 15, 2020 20, 2021 27, bringing the total to 79. In B, the following are the measures. 1. Surveyors are on the ground in Chinsali district, beaconing areas in order to facilitate title acquisition. The work is being done in partnership with the local authority. 2. A total of 7 townships, that is areas, FTC or brick skills, rural, Mayadi, what is called Mayadi, location, Chununda, Old CBD, and the Mishishi areas have been identified for verification of how many properties each township has in order to produce layout plans, number the layout plans and approve it and process the title as an ultimate goal. This process is under National Land Titling Program and implementation of the activities under the National Land Titling Program, leading to the issuance of titles that began actually this year in the first quarter of 2023. In the spirit of decentralization, the ministry, once the structure is approved, there will be officers from lands and deeds who shall register properties at the provincial center, unlike the current norm where titles are issued from Copperbelt and Lusaka provinces only. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chinsali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Dr. Muchima, for the answer. I just want to seek a clarification. I think I didn't hear properly. Did you say this verification exercise will finish before the end of 2023? This is the verification exercise that you talked about, which is being done under the land titling program. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much. My classmate at UNZA. We're in the same class doing our PhD. Thank you very much. I said it started in 2023. It's an ongoing program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I just wanted to find out, when does government intend to decentralize the land titling offices to the regional provincial headquarters of Mchinga province? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member of Parliament for Lukasha. Actually, we are rolling out Lusaka, Ndola, Chipata, Choma. We want to go to all provincial headquarters, but we shall not wait for that. We need also to use Madich. Madich is found in these unplanned settlements. You see, you find every district or every, constituency area. There are these what we call shunt compounds. Even those also, we shall go into them so that people can have title deeds. That one, we are already doing it here in Lusaka, Livingstone, Choma, Kitwe, and everywhere. We shall go throughout the whole country. Thank you, Madam.
The Honorable Member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I just want to recommend you because at least you are trying by all means to make sure that records are being followed properly, like unlike what it was in the past. You have had a lot of issues where you find two properties, two numbers, three numbers, which created a system to be very difficult to follow. I'm aware that you have now developed Zambia integrated land administration system where you want to correct everything. And this is online system. However, this system has got no window where if a client pays and discover that he has a wrong number and had already paid, so for you to correct, to give a right number, that you can transfer even the money that that person pays. It means people now are losing, and including people maybe from Chinsari, they'll find themselves in that situation. How are you going to make sure to help people so that they are not disadvantaged, paying twice or three times on the same property? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much, and I thank the Honourable Member of Parliament for Kabwe Central. When you have a new system, there are these small gaps, teething issues. Yes, but nobody will lose out any money. What we encourage is, if at all you are faced with such a situation, go to the nearest of our offices and report it. Then we can track it. We are still developing the system to the fullest. We are aware of whatever is happening. And also, let me now mention to this August House, I should thank the Minister of Finance. We had a situation whereby the registry was seriously compacted with the files. It was difficult, and officers were taking advantage to hide files. Now we are building the new modern registry. By April next year, there will be a new registry so that everything will be transparent. We want people to be served in a manner that they deserve, especially even the poorest. We want them to have the best service from the Minister of Lands. Thank you very much.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Mukushi South.
Thank you so much. Honorable Minister, I just wanted to find out if all in terms of documentation is okay, what is the maximum period with the new system that a title deed is supposed to be issued?
The Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much, my colleague, my good friend from Kush. The new system has eliminated corruption. In the old days, those who had appetite for money were producing a title deed in a day because they had interest. For anywhere where they did not interest, it was taking even 5, 6 years. Even now, they don't get. The reason was simple. In Chekarako, Paseko. The new system, you can't, Chekarako, give me something in order for me to give you. Even hiding files. There are a lot of those consultants, so-called consultants. If you went to Ministry of Lands, there were a lot of people around there. But now, the system is. No, this is, I have to protect the interest of our people. Today, even an ordinary person, we used to fear, all of us were clients of this ministry before we went there. We used to be scared because it was so complicated. You have to pay somebody in order to get a service. That's what we are saying no. Today we are saying no. That's why you can even use your phone. So, in short, what has happened is today you can't get a title deed in a day because the whole due process has to be followed. No matter how fast, quick you want to get a drop, you will not get it because it has to follow the stage, it has to be approved. Minimum at least 7 days, but it is quite efficient process, especially when everything is done. We shall be very happy. You don't need to come from Chinsali, from Kushi to come to Lusaka to get your title deed. It's just on your phone. Everything will be done. But now we shall be sending officers to rural parts everywhere to educate our people, to sensitize people how to go about it. I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Siavonga.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, question number 14.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Darius Mulundampi Siavonga, Parliamentary Constituency, is asking the Minister of Energy 3 questions. A, whether the government has any plans to sell the houses in Mitchell compound, which were constructed for Kariba North Bank Power Station employees in Siavonga district to sitting tenants. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. Last question, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, the answer to question A is as follows. The government through ZESCO Limited currently has no plans of selling the houses in Mitchell compound. As you may be aware, ZESCO Limited owns the 213 housing units at Mitchell compound. The units were constructed in the 1970s for the workers that were constructing the Kariba North Bank Power Station. The housing units are currently being rented out at a cost ranging from 5 kwacha to 50 kwacha. ZESCO has conducted a conditional assessment, verification, investment, and insurance analysis of the housing units and is in the process of securing funds to renovate them. Answer to question B, the housing unit will not be sold. So answer to the last question, it is a decision made by ZESCO. I submit.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Siavonga.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, through you, I want a clarification from the Minister of Energy. I've gotten the response that yes, they have no intention of selling those houses and that they are renting those houses between 5 kwacha to 50 kwacha. I want to find out from ZESCO I want to find out from the Minister if ZESCO has any documentation that clearly states that the ZESCO owns those housing units.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, sorry about that. I don't have the documentation to prove the ownership of ZESCO. However, the Member of Parliament is encouraged to come to our office and we can produce the information required. Submit.
The Honorable Member for Siavonga.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, those temporary structures were put up by the contractor in the early 70s, because after the construction of the Kariba Dam, then what followed was the construction of Kariba North Bank Power Station. And that one started between 69 and 72. And in 1979, that's when they were doing the test, they commissioned the power station. At that time, between 1970 and 1975, the contractor, Mitchell contractor, who was actually working at the power station, built those structures. If you went there, Madam Speaker, there is no foundation, there is nothing. And upon the completion of the construction of the power station, those were supposed to be handed back to the council because ZESCO had no ownership. There was no transfer, even up to date. ZESCO cannot do anything. They are not maintaining those houses. If the house is leaking, it's the owner that would do that. So ZESCO is, to me, ZESCO is collecting that money illegally.
Okay,
Thank you very
Honorable
much.
Member, what is your question?
My question is that ZESCO has no legal basis on which they can be collecting rentals. If they don't have documentation to that effect, then they shouldn't be collecting anything from there. Thank you very much.
That doesn't sound to be a question. I don't know whether the Honorable Minister
Madam,
of
maybe
Energy...
I can, let me put it this way. Why is ZESCO collecting rentals when they don't have documentation? Is proved from the Minister of Energy.
The Honorable Minister of Energy, do we have documentation?
Madam Speaker, I just indicated to the House a few minutes ago that the Honorable Member of Parliament for Sevonga is free to come to the office so that we can prove whether ZESCO has got the title to the property or not. So once that is proven, then ZESCO is not doing anything illegal. And I don't think the ZESCO is in a position to do illegal activities in this country.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Gwembe.
Good afternoon. Oh, thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Oh, the mic. Thank you very much. Honorable Minister.
Order,
Anyway.
Honorable Members.
Honorable Minister, 50 kwacha, 5 kwacha for a company like ZESCO. What is it that really ZESCO is looking for? Can't the government really make a decision to sell these to the sitting tenants? Because basically it's more costly to own those by ZESCO than giving them to the tenant, to the sitting tenants. Honorable Minister, are there any plans to do that?
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, these assets are still sitting on ZESCO books, so a decision as to whether ZESCO is going to sell them or not has to be taken to the board. The board has to evaluate whether it is worth it or not. Then when that time comes, we can come back to the House and inform the House that ZESCO has made a decision whether to renovate them or sell them to the sitting tenants. Submit.
The Honorable Member for Magoye.
Thank you once more, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, 5 kwacha, 50 kwacha, a house. Surely, is ZESCO maintaining those houses, or it is the tenants that are maintaining those houses? Because looking at the value that is being gotten from those houses, it does not come anywhere near to can make that house perfect for human habitation. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The written statement I've got here in response to that question is that ZESCO is conducting a conditional assessment from which a decision will be made either to renovate or hand over to the local council.
The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, why you don't have information is that these projects, even right now in Zambia, in as far as road contracts, when a contractor goes on site and you give him mobilization, he sets up that site, and after completion of the works, that site is handed over to the particular institution. So in this particular case, those houses, the contractor, depending on who funded, of course, ZESCO was involved, but it could have been that it was a loan, maybe from ADB or something like that. Those houses were supposed to be handed to the community. And that's why probably it explains why they are so cheap. But for me, Madam Speaker, my concern is, right now, as we speak, so many of these properties have been taken over either by contractors buying those particular pieces of land. A good example is even Ibis Gardens, which when Phoenix Contractors was constructing, when that area was used for mobilization and setting up of the campsite, which was supposed to be handed over to RDA or government after completion, this is the current status. Even our airports, all these big projects where we have seen these contractors have taken over possession after being given mobilization funds, it's about time that the government went back into those books and audited and made sure that those particular properties either are given to the local communities there or the particular institutions take over. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, I take that as advice and we'll look into it. Thank you.
I'll take the last one. The Honorable Member for Siavonga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just wanted to make it crystal clear that I'll follow the advice of the minister and I'll go to his office so that this matter is put to rest. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Milanzi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 15.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Under question number 15, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Milanzi, Honorable Maresiana Piri, is asking the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation the following questions. A, how many boreholes are earmarked for sinking in Milanzi parliamentary constituency under 2023? B, when the project will commence? C, what the estimated cost of the project is? And D, what the time frame for the project is? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. A, government has earmarked to sink 14 boreholes in Milanzi parliamentary constituency this year, 2023. B, the project will commence during the fourth quarter of 2023. C, the estimated cost of the project will be determined after the procurement process is completed. And D, Madam Speaker, the time frame for the project is 12 months from the commencement of the project. I thank you.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Milanzi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, thanks for your response. Fourth quarter, that's when you intend to implement the project. Exactly when?
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Member of Parliament for that question. This will be done in the fourth quarter of this year. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Chiengi. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Through you, Madam Speaker. Minister, I've heard you talking about sinking of boreholes in the Milanzi constituency. And I just want to find out, are you going to use the government money or you are going to look for donors like you've done in Chiengi? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the Member of Parliament for Chiengi for that question. Madam Speaker, we use government money. In fact, to be specific, the council is also using CDF money in some of the projects in Milanzi constituency for the boreholes. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Milanzi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, would you please be categorical when you say that some of the money is coming from CDF and the council is implementing this project? Just be categorical. Maybe to just bring you up to speed with the water situation in Milanzi constituency. Lack of clean drinking water in Milanzi constituency is quite a serious challenge. Our people, especially mothers and children, walk very long distances in search of water from streams. So it's a serious challenge. I would want to know, when you say that some of the money is coming from CDF and you're talking about 14 boreholes, which is very insignificant. Kindly clarify.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the Member of Parliament for this question. Madam Speaker, according to the information I have, is that Katete District Council has planned to sink 14 boreholes using CDF in Milanzi constituency. and these works will start in the fourth quarter. I hope the MP is listening, because she has asked a question.
You may continue, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. So, like I said, under Katete District Council, plans have been put in place to procure the drilling of 14 boreholes in Milanzi constituency. Now, she says that this is quite insignificant, and I want to say that, Madam Speaker, Milanzi constituency was not born yesterday. It's been there for a long time. And under this government, within this year, we are sinking 14 boreholes. I understand the challenges of water in Milan's constituency, but again, I think I've said this on this floor of the House, that there's been low investment in the water sector in the past years. And this is what is bringing about these challenges. But this year alone, we'll be able to do 14 boreholes, and we're still planning for 2024. And this is why, Madam Speaker, I did ask that each member of parliament should give us top 5 priorities for water-related issues in their constituencies. And we have received some submissions, but I think quite a good number of members of parliament did not submit. I think this information is very important for us, Madam Speaker, because it's going to help us to carry the views of the members of parliament as we plan for 2024. So these are not the last boreholes, Madam. I understand. I think we've been talking around the challenges of water in Milanzi, and I want to assure you that this will be done in 2023, but also we are planning for 2024, so we should be able to put more boreholes and more water interventions in the constituency, just like we are doing in other constituencies. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mukushi South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, can you be categorical? The 14 boreholes, are they coming from means of local government under CDF, or they are coming from your ministry as the means of water and sanitation? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I think that question has been answered. The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Madam Speaker, as you have said, I think it's only right that when the MPs ask you questions, they pay attention. I've answered this question, but I think my brother was chatting there. So he can check with the answered. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Musanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a follow-up question, Minister. Don't you think of upgrading these boreholes? Because you have been sinking these boreholes for quite long now. Don't you think we can migrate to other means on how we can fetch water for our people in the rural constituencies? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to thank my brother for that very, very good question. Madam Speaker, we put various interventions, water interventions, depending on the needs. For example, it's desirable to migrate to the reticulated system, a pipe-to-water system, in an area where you have bigger numbers of settlements. For example, a big village or a chiefdom. But in areas where the population is sparsely arranged, I think it's desirable to put a communal borehole so that people can just congregate and draw water. So yes, as a ministry, we are graduating to the pipe-to-water schemes, but according to the setup of a chiefdom or a village. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
As the time is 1840 hours, I interrupt the proceedings and debate stands adjourned. Day for resumption of debate.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Debate to resume tomorrow. The House is now adjourned.
Good evening. There you have it. That note brings us to the end of today's live parliamentary proceedings. Today, Tuesday, 12 September 2023. Time now to look at business that has been considered on the floor of the House. We did have quite a number of announcements by Madam Speaker Matimba.
In the first one, she informed the House that she had received communication to the effect that in the absence of Her Honor the Vice President, who is attending to other government business, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Ambrose L. Lufuma MP, has been appointed acting leader of government business in the House from today, 12 September 2023, until further notice.
And Madam Speaker, further in another announcement, did say that on Wednesday, 26 July 2023, she announced to the House the introduction of annual awards for outstanding parliamentarians. At the National Assembly of Zambia, consequently nominations were received in 3 categories, namely the Robson Nabulyato Award, Overall Best MP of the Year, the Nelly Muti Award, Outstanding Woman MP of the Year, and the Wesley Nyirenda Award, Outstanding Youth MP of the Year. To this effect, all nominations received were compiled, counted, verified, and validated. Following this process, the top 3 nominees in each category were identified.